Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is your essential briefing for September 3rd, 2025, Part 1. Look, we know you, the UPSC aspirant, you're swimming in information every day. So our mission here is really to cut through all that noise, get you the impactful insights, help you connect the dots. Some things we'll cover today might be brand new. Others, well, they could be good revision, building on stuff we've maybe touched on before. Okay, let's unpack this. We're looking at everything from, space missions to ground level infrastructure and the big environmental challenges.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here is seeing how it all links together. It's not just about knowing what happened. It's about spotting the patterns, right? Understanding the why. Seeing that interconnectedness is, well, it's crucial for your preparation for tackling those complex questions.
Absolutely. So let's kick things off with something pretty exciting on the infrastructure front, a real sign of India's push for efficiency. India is getting its first comprehensive multi-lane free-flow tolling system, MLFF. And this isn't just a small trial, it's a big step, happening at the Chauriasi Phi Plaza in Gujarat. That's on NH48. It's all down to an agreement between IHMCL, that's the Indian Highways Management Company, promoted by NHAI, remember, and ICICI Bank. Honestly, how many times have we all wished for something like this, stuck at a toll plaza? It's about getting that time back.
That's a great way to think about it, yeah. And the real insight, I think, goes beyond just faster tolls. This is a foundational step towards a really integrated, data-driven logistics network for India. Picture this, a system with no barriers. High-performance RFID readers, ANPR cameras, they read your FASTag, your number plate. You just drive through. So seamless toll collection, yes, but also, drastically less congestion, shorter travel times. But the deeper thing is how this changes economic competitiveness, even urban planning down the line.
Okay, so beyond just making my commute quicker, what are the wider impacts economically, environmentally?
Oh, they're substantial, really multifaceted. You're looking at better fuel efficiency right across the board, which of course means lower emissions. That's a critical environmental win, especially with air quality being such a concern. Plus, it should mean improved toll revenue collection. It makes the whole national highway network smarter, faster, more efficient. It's part of that bigger shift towards smart infrastructure.
Yeah.
Removing friction in supply chains, unlocking efficiency. It boosts national productivity.
And it's probably worth just quickly reminding ourselves about the organization behind a lot of this highway work, NHAI, the National Highways Authority of India. Its structure kind of brings together top minds, admin, finance, planning from key ministries all under a chairman. It ensures that holistic view, right?
Right. Balancing the big vision with actually getting it done.
Oh, wait.
Which you need for these huge projects.
Yes, a statutory body, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. Set up under the NHAI Act back in '88, operational since '95. Has a full-time chairman, up to 5 full-time members, 4 part-time members, secretary, RT&H, expenditure planning, DG, RDNSS. So this MLFF system, it really shows that push for modernization, for efficiency in a absolutely vital sector. Okay, so while we're seeing progress in infrastructure, that often shines a light on, well, the environmental side of things, which brings us to something more sobering, but really critical, environmental health quality of life. The new Air Quality Life Index, the AQLI 2025 report, is out, and the findings for India are pretty stark. Air pollution is now seen as India's most severe health threat. It's reducing the country's average life expectancy by a shocking 3.5 years.
Yeah, and these aren't just numbers on a page. They frame this as India's biggest preventable public health crisis. It actually dwarfs other major threats. So it's not just environmental. It's a human capital challenge. Huge long-term economic social costs. The AQLI itself, developed out of the University of Chicago, it quantifies this impact, measures how particulate pollution directly hits life expectancy. And just to put it in perspective, this toxic air costs Indians almost twice the years lost to childhood and maternal malnutrition, and more than 5 times the impact of unsafe water and sanitation. That comparison really lands the scale of the issue, doesn't it?
It really does, and the data. It seems like everyone is affected. All 1.4 billion Indians living in areas above the WHO safe limit for PM 2.5, that's 5 micrograms per cubic meter. And the report points to the Northern Belt as the world's most polluted zone. We're talking 544.4 million people, nearly 39% of India's population living with severe pollution. These figures are massive. How does that break down for people in specific areas?
Okay, let's make it more concrete. People living in Delhi NCR, for example, they're looking at losing 8.2 years of life expectancy based on those WHO standards. And it's not just Delhi. Bihar, 5.6 years lost. Haryana, 5.3 years. Uttar Pradesh, 5 years. It's a crisis affecting individuals, families, communities.
And wow, even if you look at India's own standard for PM 2.5, which is 40 micrograms per cubic meter, much higher than WHO's. Even by that standard, Delhi NCR residents would still lose about 4.7 years, and the report says 46% of Indians live in areas that exceed even India's own standards. So for you listening, especially UPSC aspirants, understanding these numbers is vital, not just for environment questions, but policy, public health, sustainable development.
But there is potential for improvement. That's the crucial flip side. There's hope here. If pollution levels could be brought down to meet India's national benchmark, people could gain an average of 1.5 years back. And imagine meeting the WHO's stricter guideline. That could add nearly 10 months, even in areas we think of as relatively cleaner. Stepping back, South Asia is the most polluted region globally. PM 2.5 went up 2.8% in 2023. That cuts 3 years off life expectancy across the whole region and over 8 years in the worst hit zones. It really underlines the need for, well, urgent, effective action.
Okay, shifting focus now from environmental health at home to global geography and a recent, very sad humanitarian story. It brings a country, Mauritania, into the spotlight. A migrant boat sank off its coast. At least 49 people reported dead, around 100 missing. Just tragic.
Yeah, terrible news. And understanding Mauritania's context helps us see the bigger picture of migration challenges in that region. It's in Northwest Africa, part of the Sahel, that belt between the Sahara Desert and the more humid areas further south. It's a huge country, over 1 million square kilometers, borders West Sahara, Senegal, Algeria, Mali, and has that Atlantic coast.
That's a really strategic and probably challenging location. What defines its geography?
Well, about 90% of it is actually Sahara Desert. That's a defining feature. One really striking feature is the Gelber Rishat, the eye of the Sahara. You can see it from space. It's this huge eroded rock dome. The Senegal River in the south is absolutely vital for water, for agriculture. Most people there are Moors descendants of Arabs and Berbers. And the population tends to cluster, either in coastal cities or along that Senegal River Valley.
Right, and I think there's a significant historical point about Mauritania and slavery that seems important for understanding its context today, perhaps even migration factors.
You're right to bring that up. It gained independence from France in 1960, and significantly, it was the last country in the world to formally outlaw slavery back in 1981. Though, fully eradicating those practices is still an ongoing challenge. The capital's Nouakchott, main language is Arabic, but you hear Fulani, Soninke, Wolof, French too. Islam is the state religion. Economically, it has abundant natural resources, iron ore, gold, copper. These make up about 75% of its exports. Fishing is also huge, about 20%. Its waters are some of the richest fishing grounds globally. So you have this mix. Challenging geography, complex history, resource wealth, but also significant socioeconomic disparities.
Wow.
And that mix often creates the push-pull factors driving migration.
Okay, let's change gears again. Moving into defense, international cooperation. An Indian Army contingent recently headed out to Fort Wainwright, Alaska in the U.S. for the 21st edition of Exercise Yudh Abhyas. This is a key joint military exercise, India and the USA. The Indian soldiers are from a battalion of the Madras Regiment.
Yes, and what's really significant here isn't just that the exercise is happening, but the sheer depth of the training. Over 2 weeks, these troops will be rehearsing a whole spectrum of tactical drills. Think heliborne operations, using surveillance drones, rock climbing, mountain warfare skills, casualty evacuation, combat medical aid, integrating artillery, aviation, electronic warfare systems. That level of working together, interoperability, it's crucial these days.
That sounds incredibly comprehensive. Beyond the hands-on drills, what's the sort of strategic message here? What's the bigger picture goal, especially given, well, everything going on globally?
That's a key point. There will also be subject matter experts from both sides, working in groups on critical areas, like UAS and counter-UAS ops, information warfare, comms, logistics. It all culminates in joint maneuvers, live fire exercises, high-altitude scenarios. The main focus is really twofold. 1, improving capabilities for UN peacekeeping missions. 2, boosting preparedness for multi-domain challenges. So it's more than just drills. It's about building trust, learning from each other, projecting a shared commitment to stability. It definitely reinforces the strategic partnership, sends a message about defense cooperation in the Indo-Pacific, and it fits alongside other India-US exercises, right? Like Vajra Prohar for the Army, the Malabar Naval Exercise, which is multilateral, COPE India, and Red Flag for the Air Force, all building that strategic relationship.
All right, now let's launch into something really cool. Cutting-edge space science takes us right to the edge of the universe, conceptually at least. Scientists at the Raman Research Institute, RRI, have proposed a new mission called PRATUSH. It's designed to unlock the secrets of the cosmic dawn.
Right, and here's where it gets really interesting, the cosmic dawn. We're talking about that very early period after the Big Bang, when the first stars and galaxies lit up. and essentially reionized the universe, changed everything. PRATUSH, that stands for Probing Reionization of the Universe Using Signal from Hydrogen. It's this incredibly ambitious radio telescope. And the plan is to put it on the far side of the moon, to shield it from all the radio noise from Earth. RRI in Bengaluru is building it, with close collaboration from ISR.
Wow, a telescope on the moon's far side, listening for the universe's first light. That's amazing. And I heard something about a surprisingly simple piece of tech being key to this.
Yes, that's one of the fascinating aspects. At its heart, believe it or not, is a compact single-board computer, initially built around a Raspberry Pi. This little SBC acts as the master controller for the whole radiometer system. It manages the antenna, the receiver, controls the FPGA for processing the signals, maps the sky brightness, handles all the high-speed data, storage, initial calibrations, everything. The fact that accessible tech like a Raspberry Pi can be central to a mission trying to understand the universe's birth, it's just brilliant engineering. Cost-effective, too. Its job is to constantly scan large parts of the sky, recording the radio emissions, looking for those incredibly faint ancient hydrogen signals. Planned mission life is 2 years, orbiting the moon.
Okay, let's bring it back down to Earth. Environmental conservation, ecosystems. This might be a revision topic for some of you listening. There are concerns being raised about unauthorized road construction and repair work happening inside the Srivilliputhur Meghamalai Tiger Reserve, SMTR, in Theni district.
Yeah, and this raises that important question. Why is this such a critical issue? It's not just about breaking local rules. SMTR is in Tamil Nadu, Theni, Virudu-Konagar, Madurai districts. It's in the Western Ghats, a hugely ecologically sensitive area. It was actually formed fairly recently, Fed 2021, by merging the grizzled squirrel and Meghamalai wildlife sanctuaries. But the really crucial part for understanding its significance is its role as a corridor, a connecting link. It connects Kerala's Periyar Tiger Reserve with Tamil Nadu's Kalakad-Mundantherai Tiger Reserve down south. So any unauthorized construction, it's not just a local problem. It could potentially disrupt that whole ecological network, affecting wildlife movement and genetic diversity across a much larger area.
That really puts it into perspective. So disrupting even a small bit can have knock-on effects for these big conservation efforts.
Precisely. The reserve relies on 3 key rivers, Vaigai, Surliaru, Shanuganathi. It supports this amazing mix of forests, grasslands. Biodiversity is incredible. Elephants, tigers, leopards, Nilgiri tar, gaur, lion-tailed macaques. Tons of birds, reptiles too. So for you, thinking about UPSC, protecting these corridors, enforcing regulations, it's about biodiversity, yes, but also sustainable development, regional ecology, and India's conservation commitments overall.
All right, shifting to health and medical advances now, let's do a quick review on an update that could affect a lot of people. Doctors are now thinking that Clopidogrel, it's a well-known antiplatelet drug, might actually be more effective than aspirin for long-term heart attack prevention, especially for high-risk individuals.
Yes, and what's potentially significant here is how this could change established medical practice. Clopidogrel is an antiplatelet agent. Basically, it stops blood clots forming. Its main job is reducing heart attack and stroke risk. It's also used for people with peripheral artery disease, unstable angina, and after some procedures, like stent placements, or for patients with atrial fibrillation. How it works is by blocking platelets, those blood cells involved in clotting, usually taken as a pill, once a day.
So this isn't just about one drug versus another. It could signal a real shift in how doctors approach long-term prevention. What are the broader implications?
Well, for UPSC, think of it as a case study. How medical research leads to changes in public health guidelines, how it impacts pharma R&D, even ethical questions about access to newer, maybe more effective treatments. It could mean better outcomes for many patients, but it also means reevaluating treatment strategies, costs, resource allocation. It really just shows how medical science is always evolving and the huge impact it has.
Okay, now, a brief but important environmental story from Andhra Pradesh. Again, might be a revision for some. The Tirupati Urban Development Authority, TUDA, has launched something called Operation Swarna. The aim is to rescue, revive, and rejuvenate the Swarnamukhi River from land grabbers.
This sounds like a classic example of a challenge facing many smaller, rain-dependent rivers across India. The Swarnamukhi is in Andhra Pradesh. It flows east, starts up in the eastern Ghats near Pakala village, Chittor district, runs generally northeast, goes through the Tirupati Hills, and eventually reaches the Bay of Bengal. It's about 130 kilometers long.
And it sounds like it holds significant cultural importance, too, not just ecological.
Definitely. It flows through very sacred areas like Tirumala and Srikalahasti. The famous Srikalaseswara temple is on its banks. What makes it somewhat unique is that it's an independent river system. It really relies heavily on rainfall, unlike rivers fed by glaciers or larger systems. Rainfall actually decreases quite a bit from east to west along its course. Its main tributary is the Kalyani River, where they built the Kalyani Dam back in '77. So for UPSC thinkers, this isn't just local conservation. It highlights that national challenge. How do we manage these independent rain-fed rivers sustainably? Especially facing climate change, urban growth, encroachment, and particularly rivers with such deep cultural roots.
Let's take a quick look now at a defense development with global implications. Again, could be revision. A joint U.S.-Japan military exercise is set to involve the temporary deployment of the Typhon Intermediate-Range Missile System in Japan.
Yes, and the implications for regional security, for deterrence, they're pretty significant. The Typhon system, it's also called the Mid-Range Capability, or MRC. It's a surface-to-surface missile system made by Lockheed Martin in the U.S. What's really key is its modular design. It can fire different types of missiles, specifically the SM-6, which has a range over 320 kilometers, and Tomahawk cruise missiles that give it that deep strike capability out to 1,500 kilometers. That flexibility is crucial.
So incredibly versatile, powerful. What about its strategic value and the geopolitical signal this deployment sends, especially in the Indo-Pacific?
The strategic value is huge. It's containerized, it's road mobile, so it's hard to track, highly survivable. This lets U.S. forces spread out their precision strike capability across Allied territory. They can quickly target land threats, maritime threats, even in contested areas. It's got that dual capability good for denying sea access to an adversary and for precise land attacks. A full battery includes 4 launchers, a command post, support vehicles, all on trailers. So for you, understanding these evolving defense technologies, these strategic alliances, it's critical for grasping global geopolitics. Concepts like enhanced deterrence in vital regions like the Indo-Pacific. This deployment definitely reinforces the U.S.-Japan alliance and sends a clear signal about regional stability.
Okay, finally, let's wrap up with a really intriguing bit of news about the ocean's top predator, killer whales. A new study suggests that killer whales might actually be sort of exploring human behavior by offering us whole prey and then waiting to see how we react.
Yeah, isn't that fascinating? What's striking is what it might tell us about animal intelligence, about interspecies interaction. Killer whales, or orcas, they are the ocean's apex predator, found everywhere, all oceans. Largest member of the dolphin family, actually. Most widely distributed cetaceans. They're incredibly social. Live in these groups called pods, usually related through the mother's line. They rely massively on underwater sound for hunting, communicating, navigating. And of course, they have that very distinctive black and white look. Live in all sorts of habitats, open ocean, coastal waters.
So this isn't just a quirky animal story. It could actually reshape how we think about advanced animal intelligence and maybe our place in their world.
Exactly. The study pushes the boundaries of our understanding. Advanced cognition, communication between species. It even raises ethical questions, doesn't it, about how we study and interact with such intelligent beings. And we should remember, they face serious threats. Getting tangled in fishing gear is a big one. Habitat loss, too. The IUCN actually lists them as data deficient, which just highlights how much more research and conservation effort is needed. For UPSC, it connects to those broader themes: ongoing discoveries in animal intelligence, the critical need for marine conservation, biodiversity, ecological ethics.
So what does this all mean? Well, today we've covered quite a span, haven't we? From India's high-tech MLFF tolls and the sobering AQLI air pollution report, to understanding Mauritania's context, the strategic depth of Exercise Yudh Abhyas, the cosmic quest of PRATUSH. And we revisited key areas like the SMPR Tiger Reserve, the Clopidogrel update, the Swarnamukhee River project, Typhon missiles, and those intelligent killer whales. It means you're hopefully leaving this deep dive with a richer, more connected view of the world. Ready to tackle those questions, especially for your UPSC prep. Keep that curiosity buzzing.
Absolutely. And as we think about all these things, from the precision science looking back to the universe's dawn with PRATUSH, to the immediate threat of air pollution cutting lives short right now, and the geopolitics of military exercises, it really poses a fundamental question, doesn't it? How do all these challenges and advancements, local and global, collectively redefine our responsibilities, our opportunities for the future? And maybe what role do you personally see yourself playing in understanding and shaping that future?
Powerful questions to ponder. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. If you found this valuable, please do take a second to like and subscribe. That way, you won't miss our next essential briefing. We really appreciate your support.